Hi guys, thank you so much for joining. So today I just wanted to talk about the recruitment as well as I just wanted to give few tips. Uh, if you want to start your career in terms of recruitment, definitely you should know all this stuff. I'm just waiting for people to join. Once they join, let's start. Hi guys, I can see some. Hi guys, just let me start uh, this particular program or the training. So today I just wanted to cover about the actual what are the things that you should learn or you should know about recruitment. Right, there are so many points which I mentioned. I just wanted to cover all those stuff. Okay, starting right. First of all, if you want to start your career in terms of recruitment, you should know few things, right? First and foremost thing that you need to know about recruitment is to have patience. So if you don't have patience, think about it, because there's so many people that you'll be interacting with. So every day you'll be talking to too many people, different questions, different locations, and you should be able to answer all those questions, and you should be very strong in terms of answering. So today I just wanted to tell like what are the things that you need to focus more while starting, or if you want to start your career in terms of recruitment, right? So first thing I just wanted to start with what is recruitment all about and what is corporate recruitment, right? How we start corporate recruitment, the we follow a methodology called W4H. First thing, what do we need to hire? Every company will think like whom should we hire, why should we hire, where should we hire, and when should we hire. So these are the four questions that every leadership in any company, they'll focus on those areas. Then they'll come out with a plan and they'll say how to hire these particular people. So this is what we follow at the recruitment, right? At the same time, I just wanted to start the terminologies used in recruitment, right? So what are the terminologies? Because every day, if you want to start your career, like if you are a recruiter, every day you'll come across with these kind of terminologies. One is like candidate. Who is candidate? Candidate is a person who applies for a open job opportunity, so we call him as candidate or an applicant. So hiring manager. Who is hiring manager? Hiring manager is a person who wants people or who wants people for his team, right? So for example, if I am supporting, if I need to hire somebody, there should be someone where I need to go and ask him what you need and all, right? The person who gives me a requirement as well as whom we should hire is called hiring manager. And sometimes we call him as stakeholder also. Stakeholders are the people who own the requisition open positions, to whom we need to support. Then we call business is similar. So in corporate recruitment, business, why we call them business is that they are the person who give us requirement, who give us work. That's the reason we call them as business. Client is another terminology that we use. So if you are working in an agency, usually they call clients, right? They'll be having different companies. For example, there is Tata, there is Infosys, there is Wipro. If they are giving requirement, their requirement to this agency, these guys will call them like client. We have this client whom we need to support with. So that particular word is called client, to whom we support. What do we call product? right? In recruitment, product is something I'm just wanted to talk about the technical recruitment aspects here. In technical recruitment, product is something which we develop within the company, right? In a software development, whatever the product that we develop within the company is called product development company. If we call service is like somebody gives us work where we need to fulfill their requirement. It is called service based uh, services or service based product that we work on. Then there are a few terminologies called PS is phone screen or telecon. Sometimes people will call telecon, sometimes people will call phone screen. So phone screen is telephonic discussion that an recruiter schedules for you. Then we have on-site or in-person, right? On-site is if a candidate, if an applicant comes for in-person round or a face-to-face round, that we call it as on-site. Then we call loop is something we have a set of interviewers. For example, if we have 3 interviewers or 2 interviewers or 5 interviewers, the entire 5 interviewers thing we call it as loop. Then comes talent mapping. So talent mapping is really interesting stuff, right? If you are a recruiter, if you want to be a recruiter, definitely you should know like where the talent is available. For example, if Google is hiring a customer support engineer or customer support executive, they'll focus like which are the companies who fit into my bill, right? So they'll focus on the companies like Facebook, like Apple, because most of the those products are similar to what Google is doing, right? So or the service that they are providing. So they'll have few requirements. For example, communication is one thing. Then it comes core competencies, which we call it as skills. So these kind of skills are available in that particular company. So as a recruiter, I need to identify where the talent is available who can fit into this particular role. So that's how we plan the talent mapping thing. We map the companies. So for mapping is a really interesting thing, and it has a lot of aspects in it. So I'll cover the topic little later. I just wanted to give you a overview about what talent mapping is. We map the talent from particular companies or based on their profile and all. So market intelligence is another thing. So for example, if you are a recruiter, and for example, if you go to some business, right, or to a market, first thing you need to analyze, if I set up this particular business in this particular location, will people be around it? Will people able to come and purchase products from my shop which I'm going to start? So those kind of analysis. So you'll do market analysis, right, where the people are available, right? At the same time, do they have that particular skill? If not, they'll plan alternatively. For example, when Tata Nano was starting at Hyderabad, there were few complications. Then they shifted to Gujarat. In Gujarat, they placed a company where the talent is available, where the uh, workforce is available, so that it will be very it will be easy for them to produce products. So that's how the market intelligence is. They'll identify where the people are available, which are the companies available who can do the suitable work which I want. So that's how the market intelligence starts. Another one is we call it event and recruitment drive. Event is one thing, event or recruitment drive. Few companies call recruitment drive as event, few companies call recruitment drives as a recruitment drive. So sometimes we call it as walk-ins. Walk-ins is nothing but we post a job requirement on job boards or social media and call them that there is an interview. There won't be any screening. You can directly walk in. All the requirements will be already posted on that job board or the social media. Only thing you need to verify and directly go into that particular interviews. Usually fresher hiring or customer support hiring, or few companies will keep on posting their jobs on the job boards. You can see like they'll fix a particular date and time where people can walk in directly for the interview. And there are few things which we call as recs. Recs are nothing but requisitions or the open positions that this particular company has. So when they are opening, there will be an ID. Whenever you search for any job on any company website, you'll get a code, right? You'll get a number, which we call it as job ID or requisition number. So that is what the requisition is. Reject people who come and give the interview, and if they not meet the bar or the evaluation, if they are not able to crack the interview, we call them as rejects. Hire call after the entire interview process. If they clear all the interviews, we call them hire call. We call it as an hire call. Vendors are the people who actually support this particular recruitment. Most of the agencies, right, consultancies which we call, they are vendors who support. We outsource work to them, right? A company outsource work to consultancy supply the resume. The person who supplies the resumes are called vendors. There are few terminologies. Hi Navin, thanks for joining. I have Sangeeta, Mahindra joined, and Kiran is also watching. Thank you so much, guys. Thanks for joining. So another point, we call it as ERR. ERR is employee referrals. So employee referrals are another important aspects which I talk in detail about it. Passive candidates, candidates who are not looking out for change are called passive candidates. It's like marketing thing, right? So few people might need some work, but they are not actively looking. So when you reach out and you for example, there is a door-to-door marketing guy who comes in, right? You might require that water bottle or whatever he's selling, but for now what you'll say is, I don't require. Only thing the marketing guy need to sell and need to tell them that uses of this particular product, if you take this, these are the uses, right? So the person who is not actively looking, they are called passive candidates. We need to sell. It is like a cross selling of this product or whatever you are doing. At the same time, sourcing is like searching for profiles. It is completely one terminology that commonly used across the company. They'll ask, are you sourcing profiles, are you screening profile? These kind of terminologies will be used. So sourcing is one aspect where you search for profiles for the job requirement that you have, right? Another thing is job boards are like now Monster, LinkedIn. There's so many other job boards which are available in India. Role fitment, whenever we are calling a candidate and will interview the candidate, if the candidate is matching to that particular role, and will ask based on his experience, are we setting a right role for him or not? Usually what happens is, few guys will have 10 years experience, we get them at a lower level. So role fitment is one thing that we see where this candidate is able to fit in to our role, right? So that is one more thing. Candidate experience is not the years of experience. The experience that a company provides to the candidate who starts interview process within the company, right? That is the candidate experience. Stakeholder management is like you managing your stakeholders who gives you requirements. And then weekly sync up calls, there will be weekly sync up calls. What weekly sync up call, like the agenda of weekly sync up call is like to give the recruitment updates, what you are doing on the open positions, what are your plans, how you want to achieve them. Those kind of stuff will be there in the weekly sync up. One-on-one, whenever you want to have interaction with your manager or with your peers, you'll schedule a official meeting which is called one-on-one. There will be one senior guy or one of your colleague and you talking to him directly. So that is called one-on-one session. Usually on a leadership side, like whoever got huge experience, or if you want to meet your manager and talk about the problems that you're facing or the inputs that you need to have one-on-one sessions for 30 minutes, 15 minutes, understand what his requirement is, and then work on it. Then talent are the people who has that particular skill or the particular competencies that they have, their competencies which will suit to your open position. So that is called talent. campaign is one thing that we do job postings, we promote it. That is what we call it as campaign. Usually this term will be used in any company, right? They'll ask, have you done campaigning? Have you done this particular job posting across the company? Within the company, they'll not ask like what is happening outside. Outside you'll not have control because every company has the PR, so public relations, so you should, the content will be very sensitive. If something goes wrong, people can sue. So that's the reason internal campaign is very very important, so you need to think about it. Thanks Money for joining. Money and I had like joined same training session, SAP ABAP. He is now in abroad. Thanks man, thanks for joining. And calibration session is one thing. For example, if somebody is interviewing us, we'll see whether this interviewer has that particular ability to interview the candidate. If he is not having that particular competency or that particular what do we say, caliber to interview the candidate, we'll have an calibration session. We call the interviewer and tell them these are the expectations from the candidate, don't go beyond it, because this is what we want from the candidate, so don't expect candidate something else. So the calibration session will happen so that to set an expectation to the interviewer. That's what we do. And brown bag session, usually you would have heard so many terms like this. Brown bag session is informal meeting, right, or a training or a presentation. Informally they'll ask you to bring your own lunch and attend the meeting. There won't be any lunch provided. So there are so many other terminologies which I'll be telling you in the meanwhile of this presentation. At the same time, let me start with the recruitment life cycle, right? So recruitment life cycle, how it works, right? Everyone wants to know like what happens in the recruitment. Every company will have recruitment, and every company, sometimes they'll say no, your profile is on hold. Sometimes they'll say we don't have positions. When applying, there will be a job posting on the job sites, but when you apply your resume to that, you won't get a call, though your profile is exactly matching to that particular requirement. So what happens in entire life cycle? So if you search for recruitment life cycle, definitely you'll get a lot of information on Google, wherever you want. But one thing, what happens behind the scenes, right? First thing, whenever a position is open, whenever there is a position, so what happens is the person who wants that position will come to the recruitment team and ask that this is what my expectation is. Before that, there will be a discussion within the team that why we need this particular position. Why do we need this particular position? Where you need this particular position? Where is location? When, at what time you need this position? For example, there might be a teams or where you need to start from the scratch. Nothing is happening there, and you want to build the team and build the product. So that kind of time, definitely they need a lot of resources. So that time they'll go for this particular requisitions or the positions that they want. At the same time, there will be a discussion and forecasting, right? After 3 months, what will happen? Hi Venkatesh, thanks for joining. So after 3 months, if I get a requirement, how I need to fulfill this particular requirement. So at the same time, they'll have a plan like what will be the roadmap of this product, how I need to scale it, how I need to build it, how many resources I want. Any company, right, who wants to scale their company or scale their products, definitely have a forecasting. So in first year, in January, February, they'll come with a plan that this is what we are going to do in the rest of the year. These many resources I want. After the appraisal of April, definitely they'll come up with a plan, and they'll say that these many positions, for example 200 positions I need to hire in another 1 year. So in this 1 year, they'll come and ask the recruitment team that I need 200 people to hire. Recruitment team, firstly, they'll always say we don't have a bandwidth to fill 200 roles because it is impossible, right? In few companies it's possible, but few companies, like based on the role, it depends, right? There are two ways of hiring people. One is internal hiring, another one is external hiring. First of all, whenever there is a position, whenever it comes to a recruiter, he'll post on job board because he want to start working and start posting, start getting resume and start uh, letting his stakeholder or the hiring manager know about what is happening on the open position. But there are another team which works simultaneously on the internal recruitment. They'll see how many people are there within the company who doesn't have a lot of work, can we use them in this particular project. So that is one kind of hiring which we call as workforce management team. This particular team will manage the workforce. You would have heard for bench hiring, people are in bench, they are not having projects, so that's how it works. So if for example there is a project, the timeline for the project to finish is 1 month or 2 months. After 2 months, this particular guy, X guy, will not have work, so he'll be placed on hold and he'll be like, that is called as bench. Whenever a project comes, based on his skill set, they'll assign that person to that project. So that is one internal recruitment. Sometimes internal transfers happen. If you're not liking the team, then you'll shift for another team internally. And external hiring, that's what we do as a recruiter. We go on to different job boards, source candidates and start working on it. Then we have another aspects that we have is uh, I just wanted to go through with a recruitment life cycle. First thing, there will be a business who opens a requirement. So once the business opens the requirement, then recruiter need to identify whether there are profiles available or not. Before getting that particular profile, they need to understand what we need to hire for, what is that particular role, what are the skills required, and how I need to hire. They'll have an understanding session or a sync up with the hiring managers. Then comes sourcing session. Sourcing is what we do to get the candidates, get the applicants profile, get applicants to that particular opportunity. Then you have screening session. So once the profile comes, we'll screen, right, whether this particular profile will be is it matching to the job requirement or not. So that is another stage, third stage. And then initial interview, then final interview, then feedback. We pass on the feedback to the candidate. If he select, then we'll shortlist and we'll roll out the offer. Then there will be a background verification, then onboarding formalities. So if you want to get into a recruitment field, I wanted to go in deep about what happens internally or what happens in each and every stage, right? For example, once the requirement comes in, we need to focus on strategy and the plan that we need to, how we can fulfill this particular requirement. First thing, you'll understand what is happening on this particular job. For example, you need to hire a SAP ABAP guy, and first thing you'll see what are the skill sets which are needed for this particular job that I need to fill. Second thing, what are his roles and responsibility once he joins the company. Then what what will be his growth aspects once he joins within the team. So those kind of questions will help you as a recruiter to understand in detail about what are you looking for, right? So once you get that requirement, then it will be very easy for you to identify the profile and to start screening them. So next come planning. So any hiring manager, once he come in, he'll start saying, I need these many profiles, I need to hire some 20-30 guys within 1 month. If you are not planning properly, definitely he will screw his happiness. That's what people will say, right? So though I have a lot of work, I was not able to deliver. This is very tough job to fill in. These kind of things will come in, right? So for that sake, they need to plan properly. They need to understand what has happened in the past, right? Past 6 months or 1 year, what has happened. So in 1 year, did anyone hire ABAP guys to this company? Did anyone join from this particular company? How many interviews happened? How many person came for interview? How many got selected? How many offers we rolled out? How many offer accepts happened? and how many joined. So if you have all the plan of the previous year or the job that has done previously, definitely that would be helpful to plan it properly. If you are not if the position is completely new, you need to do a trial and error method, like do 2 to 3 drives or the events or in-person rounds, and understand how complex to fill this role. Then go with talent mapping and market intelligence, how many profiles are available in the market, how many are suitable. That's when it will be useful. Then comes candidate preparation and the engagement. So entirely every company is focusing on these areas, which is called candidate engagement, candidate preparation, and candidate experience, right? So because every company is becoming customer friendly as well as it is customer facing, every business is indirectly dependent on that. So if the candidates say it is very bad, now it is on online, everybody can write a tweet or write feedback about the company. If you go search in Glassdoor, for example, if you want to join XYZ company, go search in Glassdoor, there will be reviews about that company. So candidate experience become very 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 important nowadays. So every recruiter need to focus on candidate experience. What do you mean by candidate experience? First of all, set the expectations with the candidate, what we are looking for, what we need to hire, right? After this, right, tell the candidate how many interviews that you will be having, what is the timeline for the interviews, after you interview what will be the process, when will you roll out the offer. Don't tell the compensation details, because you don't know whether you'll be capable of offering that person or not. If ask them, in few countries it is illegal to ask compensation details, in few countries you can ask, but for now don't ask any candidate about the compensation details, and tell that we'll pay as per as per company norms or as per the market standards. It depends. Again, if you are hiring from services company, most of the people from services company will be suitable, because the salary bandwidth might not be suitable. When you are going for a product based hiring is totally different, because the pay packages are different, the expectations are different. Even the 2 years guy will act as an architect, right? So that's how it is. And finally, behind the scenes which I spoke, there are other points which I wanted to talk in detail about. First thing, I spoke about sourcing, right? Sourcing, how do you need to start sourcing candidates? There's so many job boards which are available: Naukri, Monster, then you have employee referral, company website, then social media. Headhunting is one thing that we do for CEOs and lot of leadership or uh, executive level of hiring. We do headhunting. Then social communities like GitHub, Stack Overflow, and there are few websites which are available for the technical guys, where they can post their code, they can save their code in their repositories, and people can actually use it. If it is useful, there are other person who goes copy the code, edit it based on his requirements. So social communities is another area that we source candidate from. Then vendors, agency, consultancies, print ads. For example, in Hindu newspaper, previously there was so many news or so many notifications or so many ads used to come for hiring. Nowadays also there are a lot of ads which are printed on the paper. So even few companies still now they are using those print medias to attract people from. So there is small boolean operation that you need to, there are so many aspects that you can do for sourcing. If you want to know in detail about sourcing, please comment. I'm here. I have 30 more minutes. I can give you more details about it. I'm just covering the overview of entire the recruitment process. Then comes screening, right? In screening the candidate, usually if you are a techie guy or a non-tech guy or working anywhere, these are very useful for you also, as well as for the recruiter who wants to start his career. First thing, as a recruiter, you should have a set of questions that what what I am going to ask the candidate once the candidate answers the call. So once the candidate answers the call, have a set of questions, right? Greet him, take his availability, ask like, are you free? Can we talk for 5-10 minutes? this is about a job opportunity in XYZ company, will you be interested? If he's not, try to cross sell him, right? A few times people will just disconnect the call and say that I am not interested. Few times they'll say, right, what is this position all about? If they say I am not interested, tell them that we are going to do something new. It is not related to recruitment. Just we wanted to give you information about what we are doing. So tell about the product or the service that you are hiring for. Give them details about that particular job. And if he is interested, call back. It is just like how the marketing guys keep on calling. But here we should be very formal and very professional. Very, very important, because you are the front face of the company. Whatever you do, it will be directly impact, there will be direct impact to the company. So talk to the candidate, take his availability, give information as much as you can, and have a set of questions. First thing, ask what is your role, or what is your current role or the project that you are working on, and the impact of the project on the system, on the organization, as well as your key contributions. So once you get these details, that would be really, really good. Because few time what happens, hiring managers will come and ask, why did you shortlist this particular profile? Then you should be able to answer, and then talk about his current role, get his details, ask experience, his location, whether he's interested for other locations. Okay, ask about his aspirations, what you want to be, whether he wanted to be a software engineer or a business development manager or a mechanical engineer. What his goal is after 3 or 4 years down the line, right? Tell him, like, within this role, is there any growth opportunity that they can go? Few people will say, is there any abroad opportunity that I can go? Take that details as well. Tell them, like, yeah, we have, if your company provides that particular option, tell them, yes, we have, but there are particular terms and conditions. There might be few companies, they'll say you need to work for 1 year to go for abroad. So those kind of constraints will be there. Have a note about it. Don't share all those information. If your company is okay to share that information, share it. Otherwise, keep it confidential and say that yes, we have opportunities, but yes, there are few constraints which I can't tell. If it is confidential, don't share it, because it is confidential. Then if you are hiring a technical guy, definitely, or a software development engineer, give him a coding test. Ask him to take a test so that you'll know the coding ability. If not, if he's a technical guy, give him a write up. If he's from management guy, give him a sheet and tell him that this is the topic that you need to work on. Give him actual scenario, a scenario based question. For example, if you need to manage 5 executives and you need to assign job, everyday job, and how will you be able to manage their performance, send it to them. If you are hiring for a manager, so you'll analyze, like, how is able to write, how he is able to communicate, at the same time how professional he is through his writing. Sometimes they might copy and paste, but yes, talk to them. Yes, there are people who copy and paste, but yes, it totally depends on how the guy is, right? If some guys will not be interested to write, some guys will be interested to write. So check with them, talk to them, have their communications, know their communication skills. It's not very important that they should talk in very posh English or grammatical correct. If they are able to communicate their point, that is enough. So that is one thing. And communities, for example, uh, if he is a social media manager that you are hiring, check how his presence in social media, how he is tweeting, right? Or how his LinkedIn presence is, social media presence, YouTube and all. Then if you are hiring for software development engineer, check for Stack Overflow, GitHub, these kind of websites. Definitely you'll know, like, how their presence in the social media. So it is totally depends on the candidate. You can ask that question also. Another thing, set the expectation. As I said, candidate preparation is another thing that you need to focus more on. So as I said, definitely you need to prepare the candidate. So sometimes candidate preparation I just wanted to focus. Whenever you're calling a candidate for the interview, right, set them expectation, right? If they are going to have a coding round, tell them that you're going to have a coding round. If it is a design round, tell them that you're going to have a design round. So set their expectation, because the candidate should not feel or should not tell the hiring manager that I don't know anything about it, just they called for the interview. Hi Venkatesh, thanks for joining and thanks for watching. There are few more things which I wanted to conclude very fast. At the same time, ask the candidate interest and the aspiration. So those are another very important things that as a recruiter you should do. And one more thing which I wanted to cover is basic stakeholder management. Hi Shilpa, thanks for joining. So you joined at the right time. I am starting with basic stakeholder management. Now if you want to start your career as a recruiter in any corporate company, they'll expect how good you are in stakeholder management. So stakeholder management is very important aspect. And in stakeholder management, what it actually happens is how you as a recruiter talking to the hiring manager, talking to the business who gives you a requirement. If you are not able to understand what the role that you need to fill, you need to go talk to the hiring manager that what is this role all about. Get the information, have a connect session, have one-on-one sessions, get all the list of requirement, like where I need to hire, when I need to hire, how many positions I need to hire, what is this job all about, what are the skills required, what is this job requirement, what are the benefits that you are going to give to this particular candidate. If he joins to the team, what will be the impact? So ask these kind of questions to the stakeholder. Second thing in the stakeholder management is you need to keep on sending the weekly reports to the business, telling like this is your job position, this is the requirement that you have given to me, and for this particular requirement I have 10 solid candidates who are actually screened by me, who are ready for the interview, and these many profiles I sourced. I need to talk to them. These candidates or phone screen rejects, whatever the status are, keep your tracker. I'll give you the inputs of the tracker, how you need to manage also. Send very good reports to the hiring managers, keep them posted about all the things that you're doing on that job requirement, because on you never know what your hiring manager is expecting out of you. So you need to keep all information posted to the stakeholders. That is one good thing. Sometimes they might ask you to share profiles, I'll screen it. So if you are working on a consultancy, definitely it is hard for you to convince the client or the stakeholders. But if you are working in a company, product based company, sometimes you can directly tell them that this is my role, I know how to source, give me a chance. And take 2 to 3 events, recruitment drives, take permission from them, do on your own. And if the candidates are getting rejected, you'll know like what are the who are the candidates who are getting selected, why these candidates are getting rejected. So have those things in place. So, and you need to show your backbone. Show backbone is not you turning backside, but you should say that, dude, there's so much work, these are the updates which on the rec that I am working on, as well as I'll give you updates, right? You should learn how to say no politely and respectfully, and have conversation with them continuously. If you don't have an interviewer, send a mail, talk to them, have the connect session, have one-on-one session regularly. Once the hiring manager knows you personally, once a hiring manager knows your working style, if you are giving them whatever requirement, whatever that an hiring manager needs in terms of job, then he's happy and he'll get a confidence. That's how you can do it. So my suggestion for you is have connect session every week or by week, send report consistently, talk to them about different ideas that you wanted to do. If it works, if it works, if doesn't work, have a brainstorming session with that particular hiring manager, and you will get to know how to do it. So then comes the modes of interviews, right? Modes of interviews are different. There are modes. If you are from management guy, you would know like what are the modes of interviewing, but there are simple things. One is telephonic discussion, one is in-person rounds of interview, another one is video call, and then you have walk-in interviews. Walk-in is again face-to-face interviews, right? So now I just wanted to focus on how you need to maintain the Excel sheet. If you are a recruiter, first thing, have a serial number. That is very important, because sometimes if you delete in between rows, you might not add, because when you start working on it you might miss out on it. So have that serial number, though it is a simple thing, don't take me funny, but it is very important. Second thing is a requisition number or the job ID which you are actually supporting. And third column should be hiring manager. Mention the name of the hiring manager. If you're working from an agency or a service based company, mention the business that you are supporting or the client name, because it is easy for you while reporting. The mandatory things that you need to have is: one, hi Rahul, thank you so much for joining. I worked with him, so he was with doctor appointment and another company. Thank you so much for joining. And in the Excel sheet, have one more column called name of the candidate, full name of the candidate, very important. Second thing is phone number, which is very important. And third, email ID. Email ID is very important. And have another column called alternate email ID and alternate phone number. Most of the candidates nowadays have 3 to 4 numbers and minimum 1 or 2 email IDs for sure. So take those alternate email IDs. What happens is, when you schedule the interview, one phone number will get switched off and you don't know how to contact the candidate, you don't know how to send mail, or you don't know anything. At that cases, it is very bad for you as well as for the interviewer. It is completely screw ups the entire interview schedule that you have done. So have those alternate numbers, that will definitely help you out. Then take current location of the candidate and his interest location also. These are two other columns that you need to have. Education and domain or the branch, which is very important, because few companies, while shortlisting the profile, they'll see the college as well as the domain that they are coming from. So have those columns also in place. Then total years of experience, which is very important. Sometimes they'll ask for percentage also, but for now no need. Few companies are not considering experience for now, but there are few companies like Infosys and all, they are expecting 67 or 68 percentage in BTech. So when you are supporting a business or when you are supporting a company, check whether they are actually looking for the percentages also. Then have a column of status. Have very 5 or 10 status. First thing is review resume or resume to be screened, so that you'll know like whether you spoke with the candidate or not. Second thing, phone screen scheduled or phone screen to be scheduled, on-site scheduled or on-site to be scheduled, hire call or a reject, phone screen reject phones, or on-site select. So on-site reject. So have these things in place. Sometimes they'll ask like, if you just mention the reject, if your manager asks is it direct reject or a phone screen reject, you will not have that answer to tell. So have these columns in place so that it will be very easy for you to shortlist. At the same time, prepare a pivot. So I'm not showing that demo actually of the small Excel sheet, but going forward I might send that links for you so that it will be helpful for you. Open the Excel sheet, have a pivot, and have that pivot forever if you are using that particular tracker. Because what happens is, once you update the data, just go into another sheet, just refresh the data, you will have all the details there. Okay, you need not to change anything. At the same time, mention the color coding, have duplication rules and all, so that if your tracker is perfect, then your job is very easy. So maintain your tracker properly and maintain your pivot. If your pivot is correct, it is very easy for you to send reports. You can filter based on the client you are supporting, based on the requisition, based on the location, whatever you want. Have those columns correct, have rules correct, have color codes correct. At the same time, mention the comments also, and use one more option called insert comment. If you right click on the status button, there will be insert comment. Just mention whatever comments that you want to. Few people will say, right, call me after 1 hour, call me after 2 hours. Have a note of it so that it will be really helpful. Then I covered maintaining databases and maintaining reports also. Then how do you manage your mailbox? So very important thing, you need to manage your mailbox. Create a phd if you are using Outlook. Then at the same time, have different folders for and create rules for them, so that whatever mails which will come will fall into that box, and you can filter out, you can talk to them very easily. And use all the options which are there on Outlook. One is task, which is very useful for you. Another thing is calendar. Block your time, right? For example, if you want to talk to hiring manager or your colleague or your manager, block your calendar, have one-on-one session, have recurring meetings. You can send invites on online meeting Outlook. So those are another advantage that you can find in calendar. Then you have task, flag it. In the mail option only, you'll have a flag button. Though they are simple, if you are able to manage your mailbox properly, you should be able to do your job very fast and very with the ease. At the same time, I just wanted to talk about the recruitment tools. These are very important things which I wanted to tell. If you are making a note of it, make a note of it. So I made a note of it. Sorry for using my phone here. There is one website called highrichworld.com, right? If you are a recruiter and if you don't have access to any job board or any social media corporate logins, use highrichworld.com website and register yourself. It will be easy because it has all sort of social media things, like LinkedIn, Behance, GitHub, Stack Overflow, whatnot. All the links are available there. If you use that particular website, you can source profile easily. Try it out. If you are facing any difficulty, I'll mention my email at the end of the video. You can send me queries. I'll be happy to help you out. Another one is lusha.com. Lusha.com, if you have it, you will get 5 to 10 credits free, where you can actually see the phone numbers of any candidate. So that is one more website which one more link website which will be very useful for you. Another thing is Connectifier. Connectifier is a LinkedIn tool which is very useful, right? So that is one more Connectifier thing that you can use. And free job posters are available, right? Hirist.com. Previously it used to be called as IAM Jobs. Now it is hirist.com. Just go there, post your job requirement. And lusha.com, as I said, you can get the email ID, phone number, or if you are doing an headhunting job or a corporate hiring, or a executive hiring, use this website. Sourcinghub.com is another one which will help you out. And InstaHire is new website that came into the market. So if you are a aspirant or looking out for a job, please register here, because a lot of the corporate companies are using these websites. And Naukri Monster, in which ways they are using, have very good LinkedIn profile, because entirely almost like most of these product based companies are using linkedin.com. So that is one more thing. And last one is recruitmentgeek.com. It is like one website where you can directly source profile from. And one more website is Facebook thing. I just forgot that particular name of that. See, if you have that extension installed in your Chrome box, you can find anyone from Facebook. So which is another thing which is very 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 useful, and I use them regularly, right? Give me 1 second, let me tell you the name of it. uh, okay, it is Facebook search a link. Okay, Facebook search. So if you search for an extension of Facebook search, you'll get that extension. Just click on it, it will install. Then just go there. You have different options, like let me tell you: Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. People you can search with name, number of likes they have done. Any tips to have a professional LinkedIn profile for job seeker? Definitely I'll cover this point, Naveen. Give me 5 minutes. So use this extension also, which will be really really helpful. And okay, so then basic boolean search, and or not. So what is this boolean search is like? And if you want two links, right? For example, if you are mentioning your full name, Sanjay Samuel, for example, my name is Sanjay Samuel. If I want to get this name Sanjay and Samuel, you can get that number, or else get my name or my details. Or if you want to search directly my profiles, put an inverted comma and put my complete name, you will get my profile on LinkedIn. So there are few boolean search which are available. This works on BODMAS principle. Bracket is one thing that we use. It takes the priority search. Then OR is either Java or .NET. You can either of the skills. Then and if you need both the skills, if you need mechanical engineer and BTech, or mechanical engineer plus MTech, then you can search. And then you have asterisk. For example, if you are searching for administrator, but you don't know whether it is an administration or administrator, put admin and star, search in one of the job search site. Definitely you will get the full name and the profiles which has admin in their profile. So definitely that would be useful. So then social media hiring is another thing. As I said, these are the websites which will be really useful, like HiRitual, Lusha, and another thing is Facebook search is very important. So candidate preparation, diversity sourcing. If you are hiring for female, just type she or her, or from women college or from girls college. So these are the keywords which will be used for sourcing diversity candidates. So if you have any questions, you can ask me. That's up for me. So as Naveen asked me about any tips to have professional LinkedIn profile, definitely I would help you out. So if you go to a LinkedIn profile, right? Um, if you open your LinkedIn, there will be a photo. Have a professional photo. Then there will be another thing, which we call it as a title bar. So mention the title. If you are actively looking for a job, just mention that keyword, that you are actively looking for a job. And or else you can mention a keyword called seeking for an opportunity. Mention what is your current role, then current company, then your current location, because these are the keywords which a recruiter will use to source profile. One, you should mention from which company you are. Another thing, your title, what is your job title. Another thing, college name is very important. If you are done MTech or from IIT or NIT or from very good college, just mention that name, because sometimes as a recruiter I search based on college name also. Then project, so that is one thing in the title. Then comes your brief, right? So in brief you just mention that what you actually do. First thing, about uh, your roles and responsibilities while preparing the job, your profile, right? Search for job openings related to your job. Once you get the job, read through it, you'll get to know whether I am able to do this particular job or not. So make a points of it. So for example, if they say, right, are you good at AutoCAD and CAD? So those are the keywords which that particular job recruiter is looking for. So have that point in your profile. So compare 3 to 4 job description and understand whether these job profiles, whether these expectations are there reflecting in my profile or not. If you are having experience, if you know those particular skills that you have worked on, definitely you need to mention. And third thing, mention about your project, right? Don't if it is confidential, don't mention it. If it is not confidential, or if you want to project that what you have done in this particular project, mention in point. Don't mention too much of content. Have 5 to 6 points so that it will be very easy for a recruiter to understand. If you mention lot of technicalities, if it is a technical interviewer, definitely if he is a hiring manager, he would know, right, what kind of profile it is. If it is a recruiter, he don't know, he'll see like there's a 5-6 pages resume, do I need to go through with it? So have simple LinkedIn profile, and mention your key achievements. At the same time, mention if you have any patents, right? Let me open my LinkedIn and I'll tell you what are required. Sorry if I am taking too much time, I have 2 more minutes. If you have any more questions, you can ask me. I can. Thanks, Vamshi, thanks for joining. So first thing, if you open your LinkedIn, there will be a space where you can upload your image. So upload one of the good images, or if you don't want to upload image, leave it as is, not an important. Because if it is the recruiter, we mention about what we are doing or which company we are working. If you want to have a professional profile, and if you want to tell that this is what I am going to do, just update, have a creative there, so that it will be really attractive. Then mention your full name, because sometimes we search based on your first name and last name. So have your full name, your current role and your current company, your college name, as well as the current designation or current location. Mention brief about what you actually doing. At the same time, there is an area called your articles and activities. You would have wrote some articles or activity that you have done in your college or in your company, wherever it is. If it is not confidential, prepare a PPT or a presentation or a blog, share it on this, so that it will be easy for recruiters to access. So that it will be, why it happens is, why you should mention those articles here is, while searching we use different keywords like AutoCAD, like designing hall, or having experience on detailing. So in your article somewhere you would have mentioned that I have experience on detailing. So on your LinkedIn you would have not mentioned. If there is details in your article, definitely based on this keyword we will be able to find out your resume. So have those keywords. Then mention about your responsibilities, then your total years of experience, as well as if you have done any volunteer thing, definitely you need to mention. Ask for recommendations. This is very important. So ask for recommendations. Definitely people who know you or who worked with you will give you recommendation. What happens is, now you might be having 6 or 7 years experience. Down the line, if you get 10 or 15 years experience, you would become a manager or you would become a senior lead. So that's when it matters. Now it might be very small thing, but down the line after 5-6 years you would be a manager. It would be really important. At the same time, there is another aspects, right? Interest last. So interest are nothing but, if you are following a company, if you want to join Mercedes-Benz, right, follow that company, right? While searching, we have an option called search based on the candidates who are following this particular company. If you are following Mercedes-Benz, we can type the candidate following Mercedes-Benz and put an enter. You should be able to get. So follow those, click on the interest button, because whatever you mention on the resume, whatever you mention will have an access to search your profile. So mention the keywords, and while you do it, right, in LinkedIn itself it says like it is 90% complete or 100% complete. Once you create it, you need to monitor your profile and see how you are able to, like how many people are watching your profile. If they are not watching, then search job description and modify your profile once you feel confident about your profile, and once you have a good number of views, then you should go for it. So previously I used to have some 30 views or 50 views per week. Now it is 1085 views, and almost 300 times or 381 times my profile has appeared while others are searching for different requirement. At the same time, if you are actively looking out for a change, there is one more option called career interest. You can put on button, that's it, people would know that you are looking out for a change. So this is how this will help you to prepare your resume professionally. Naveen, any more questions? My time is up. Okay guys, thank you so much, thanks for joining, and this is my first webinar. If you want to comment, if you want to give some feedback or suggestions, please comment. It would be really helpful for me. At the same time, it would be helpful for other people also who are looking for a job or want to get started their career in terms of recruitment. Thanks Naveen, thanks Vamshi, thanks Shilpa, thanks Rahul, thank you so much everyone for joining. Yeah, please, one more I have, please. Naveen, I am waiting for your question. Hey Vamshi, how are you, man? Is there any advantage if I join premium account? No, nothing. See, if your profile is good enough, that's it. Because it doesn't make any sense. See, whoever, first of all, a recruiter will have a premium account to source every profile and to get any details. Premium profile, what they say is, we'll do this resume like this, we'll do that resume like this. Only thing, resume writing they might charge, but I don't think, I don't suggest also, don't have that premium membership in LinkedIn. If you want to have a recruiter access, go for it. If you don't want to have a recruiter access, just prepare your resume professionally, that's enough. Because what happens is, even in Naukri they have an option called uh, premium resumes, right? Very few guys will search based on premium resumes. For example, out of 100, only one or two people have premium resumes. As a recruiter, I want to source some 60 candidates, so I can't go with only two profiles, right? I need some 58 more. If so, that's how it is. So not a problem. Only thing, have all the details mentioned in your resume, track your resume and see how many people are watching your resume, that's enough. Anything else, Naveen? Thanks man, thanks for joining, and thanks all who left also. I'm okay, thank you so much for participating.